This video is called Why Not Shaq? And it's talking about basketball, Shaquille O'Neal, and not just Shaq, but I'm rating him number two in the type of centers I like. I think there's two type of centers generally, and I like the type of center in first spot that can do everything. So Shaq's not an inside out center. Wilt Chamberlain's generally not an inside out center, and neither is Dwight Howard. And I haven't gone back and just studied in that category yet who would fall between Shaq and Dwight, if there is anybody. So in that category of centers, inside centers who could play basically inside only, I like Wilt Chamberlain at number one, and I like Shaq at number two. People underestimate Wilt Chamberlain, and then just because he did play against Kareem, he didn't just play against little guys, right? Kareem's a top center. So I got number one Wilt, number two Shaq, number three Dwight. And I will say, I don't know exactly how to rate them when you combine the two types of centers. It really is hard. I've always left Shaq most of the time, not always. Sometimes I said, well, in this scenario, I want Shaq, but as my top. So and then I've thought more about it over time, and I would probably take Wilt more often than Shaq at the top. But I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm not going to act like I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure, though, about Wilt being number one. People way underestimate him. He's strong like Shaq is, too. He was thin, but he was strong. He outbenched the strongest men in the world at his time, which was like Lou Ferrigno or Arnold, the Terminator. And literally, from what I understand. So... But he was a great athlete, stayed in shape. He scored more than Shaq, 100 points once, but on the average he did. He got way more rebounds. And so he was really very good, and he gets underestimated because he wasn't on good teams. So Shaq, so the other type of center is, David Robinson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and let's see, I'd put Kevin Garnett in there, and Tim Duncan, who is really a center more than a power forward, frankly. He really played power forward because they had David Robinson at center. So that was to their advantage, too. They're the ones that beat Shaq and Kobe out of the playoffs. When David Robinson came back from injury, the year before David Robinson was injured, then Kobe and Shaq won. David Robinson came back the next year, and it was his last year. So he was playing when he was older, but he still helped them beat Kobe and Shaq. So, David Robinson, to me, is the best center. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm 100% sure he gets way underrated, and they're being bigoted against him. They're being prejudiced. And that's not just bigoted. They're being biased, too, because his stats don't add up as much as others because he had a short career because he was in the military. So anyhow, I don't want to get cut off on this video, so I'm going to close it up. But that's the basic thing I'm looking at, and I hope I don't forget a point that I wanted to say. But so I got David Robinson because if you look at he scored a 71-point game. They never talk about that. They don't talk about how he and Tim Duncan beat Shaq and Kobe. They don't talk about how he put San Antonio on the map. Now, he didn't win without Tim Duncan, but he went from when he came out of college, San Antonio had 30 or less wins that year before. Then they had 70 wins with David. So then you add Tim, and then they're winning championships. So that's because of both of them. So then when David left, they still won championships. I think a few or a couple. But they had Tony, I forget the other guys' names, but they had some good players. So David can do everything. He's fast. He can shoot outside. I like David because ideally I might use Wilt Chamberlain at center and move David Robinson to stretch power forward sometimes, and then, or have David and Tim Duncan, by the way, just have both of those guys. So if I put them all in a ranking together, I still might go. It's hard to say whether I do Wilt or David Robinson or Kareem. Kareem's right there too, and so is Hakeem. They're all good. When I break it into brackets, Kevin Garnett moves up. He's up there anyway. And that allows, and if I put them in their proper position at center, Kevin can do both, but that also helps Karl Malone have more value than he gets because Tim Duncan's put at power forward and all that. But Tim Duncan's really a center, you know. I mean, his style is fit more for center. But so that's my thoughts. And why not Shaq? As far as Shaq goes, now he gets pumped up now, but he doesn't play fair. He admitted he lied about David Robinson and assassinated his character for his whole career, and claiming he didn't give him an autograph. And that's part of the reason they were biased against David Robinson. So David's better than people say. Okay, time's up.